From every corner of the globe they came to play, compete, watch, support, socialise and experience the camaraderie and fun that only comes from being a part of the World Masters Games. And all across Melbourne you could tell that the atmosphere was changing. The World Masters Games was about to begin. From the 5th to the 13th of October 2002, Melbourne welcomed 25,000 competitors, 3,500 accompanying persons and 4,000 volunteers to the biggest multi-sport festival on earth, the Melbourne 2002 World Masters Games. There was no better city to host this celebration of sport and friendship than Melbourne, Australia's home of sport. The unique thing about the World Masters Games is that the only criteria to enter the Games is the minimum age requirement. Being a world event, this meant that marketing was an enormous task. To ensure that marketing was effective, the Games targeted key international, national, state and local sporting events, organisations and clubs to promote the Games. Recruitment commenced in the international market early in 2000, with the Games representatives attending multi- and single sport events in America, Canada, Europe, Asia and New Zealand. In 2001, focus moved to promotion in Australia and finally to Victoria in 2002. When it wasn't feasible for a representative to attend an event, arrangements were made for expression of interest postcards to be distributed, or adverts were placed in event programs. A major part of the Australian promotions was the National Roadshow that visited more than 30 cities and towns across Australia from January to March 2002. Over a 3-year period, an expression of interest database was built of 40,900 contacts. Communication was maintained with these contacts through the Games newsletter to convert the expressions of interest into Games registrations. On arrival in Melbourne, pageantry throughout the city, the regional host cities of Ballarat, Geelong, Bendigo and Ngambie, and at all sport venues, ensured that competitors felt welcome. Upon arrival, competitors went to the Games Centre, located at the World Trade Centre in Melbourne, to accredit. Accreditation opened on Wednesday the 2nd of October. The first 5 days of accreditation saw 24,630 participants accredit. To accredit, competitors provided photo identification, confirmed their events, then a digital photo was taken for use on their accreditation pass. Competitors were also given a Games backpack and then moved on to collect relevant information regarding their sporting competition. The Games Centre was a hub of activity throughout the Games, with a Games Expo, official merchandise and photography bringing competitors back throughout the week. Accommodation was organised through the Games Travel Office. A complete range of accommodation was available to participants, ranging from camping grounds to 5-star accommodation. Free public transport was provided by the Victorian Government to all competitors. And with 70% of venues within a 4-kilometre radius of the city, this was the preferred way of travel for the majority of competitors. Competition commenced on Saturday the 5th of October. The sporting competition was organised by the State Sport Associations of Victoria in conjunction with the Games. With 29 sports being played at 54 venues across Melbourne and regional Victoria, competitors enjoyed outstanding international competition at world-class venues. Entry to the sport venues was free for spectators wishing to watch competition. Spectators consisted of family and friends of competitors or other competitors. A highlight of the competition was, of course, the medal ceremonies. The Melbourne 2002 World Masters Games created an official medal ceremony as a way of recognising the significance of each competitor's achievement in winning a medal at a world event. Competitors played hard during competition, and then they partied hard at the end of the day at our Club Masters pubs and hotels located throughout Melbourne and the regional host cities. A major part of the success of the Games is the socialising that's part of competitive sport. Each individual sport also held their own function for their competitors to celebrate their achievements. Another highlight of the Games was the program of special events, commencing with the spectacular opening ceremony staged at the Melbourne Cricket Ground on Sunday the 6th of October. Attracting 18,000 Games participants and 32,000 general public to welcome the participants to Melbourne, this was the best opening ceremony ever staged at a World Masters Games. Highlights included a march by the 18,000 competitors, a torch relay, and lighting of the Melbourne 2002 World Masters Games cauldron, and a Masters of Rock concert featuring famous Australian performers. The gala event of the Games was the Down Under Dinner with the Stars for 1,300 competitors on Friday the 11th of October. Demand for tickets was high, with tickets selling out well in advance of the close of entry date. On Sunday the 13th of October, the Games were officially closed at the closing celebration at Telstra Dome. This celebration was for Games participants and volunteers to celebrate their achievements, to say thank you for being part of the Games, and to say goodbye. Following the official closing, the party commenced, with tribute bands keeping the 15,000 participants dancing until the final song. A key part of any event are the sponsors. The Games had a total of 31 sponsors. There were 3 levels of sponsorship available: Games Partner, Games Supporter, and Games Venue Partner. Media coverage was difficult to attain prior to the Melbourne 2002 World Masters Games being staged. However, due to the media plan in place, significant coverage was achieved. The major components of this plan included appointing well-known sporting celebrities as Games ambassadors, establishing media partners as sponsors, with key Melbourne print and electronic media, highlighting Games milestones, such as the launch of the Games, the close of Early Bird, identifying prospective competitor stories that would interest the media, such as the oldest competitors, and stories of competitors overcoming serious illness or injury. During the Games, overwhelming media attention was received due to the sheer size and magnitude of the Games as the biggest multi-sport event ever held in the world, highlighting the fantastic characters that had been identified as being of significant media interest, such as the oldest male and female competitors, participating Olympians and former champions, and the relationships that had been developed with the media and the Games media partners. The Logistics Centre was set up in the pit buildings at Albert Park. The Logistics Centre was ideally located, being close to 70% of the major sporting venues, game centre and head office. The Logistics Centre operated all logistics: VIP taxi, hire car for staff and sport, communications equipment and signage distribution. The Games had an extensive communications plan during Games time. The Melbourne 2002 Games Communications Centre was the hub of all communications. The main function of the Games Communications Centre was to communicate with all venues and Games personnel on Games-related issues. As with all major events, they can't happen without volunteers. The Games relied on the work of 4,000 volunteers to help run the Games. This included 800 General Games volunteers and 3,200 sport volunteers. The event was produced within the total budget of $9.3 million and was a tremendous success. For those who came to Melbourne for 9 great days in October, the true value of their time came not only in sporting achievements that transcended their age, but also in the friendships they forged. And while not all left with a medal, all left with a smile on their face. Because the Melbourne World Masters truly was the friendliest of Games.